Are you trying to make your PowerPoint presentations look really professional? Well, if you are, I'm going to show you guys how to use the Design tab in PowerPoint so that you can make really professional looking slides in just a few seconds. So without further ado, let's get started. Here's the Design tab. So we go from Home, Insert, Draw, Design. So this is where you get the Design tab. And up here in Themes, you have a bunch of different themes you can select through and hover over, and then it's going to show you down here what the theme actually looks like before selecting it. So this is a super quick way if you have no design skills whatsoever, or if you just don't want to think about it too much. Pick a theme here and then you can select it, and now when you click a new slide, it'll pick out the layout for you, and then you can also do layout right here. And it's going to have all these different awesome themes for you throughout this entire deck. So PowerPoint did the job for you on creating a nice theme. Nice professional, looks great. Now, are all these really attractive themes? Probably not, but that's okay because there's a couple that are really good that you can select through. And if you do like some of them that maybe I don't like, you can do that as well. So it's all up to personal preference. So just know there are a bunch of different themes here. You can also browse themes or even save a current theme. So right now, this is just the theme we're working on. We go here next to variants. You're gonna see here how we can hover over this and choose the type of colors we want to use for our theme. So let's say we want this type of coloring going on, or maybe even this one, we like this. Now it's gonna change the type of colors that are used throughout that theme. Another thing that we can do is we can also go to fonts. So if you're wanting to use a certain type of font for your PowerPoint presentation, you can pick it here, or you can even click on customize fonts, and then it'll allow you to choose what exact fonts you want to use for your heading, your body font, and then see what it looks like in the sample heading right here. So let's say you just want to do Lato, we can type in Lato, and then we can do Lato Light. All right, so that is what my text is going to look like if I want it in this theme. I then could say save, and now everything's going to switch to this Lato font. I no longer have to change the font text every time I click a new template. Saves you a bunch of time. I really like that feature. Another thing is effects. So if you want certain effects in here, you can do that here. Now, as you can see here right on the right, this is where most of the effects are getting manipulated. I haven't really played around with effects too much, but feel free to play around with that if you are noticing a big difference in each one that you pick, but just know that is an option for you. Background styles. So this is actually going to choose what your background color is going to be when you select it. So if you're wanting more of like a dark kind of theme, you can pick on these. Or if you want a lighter theme, you can pick on one of these colors. And this is going to kind of manipulate what type of coloring of your background is going to be. So next what we have is customize. So I like to use customize a lot because let's say you're working in a 16:9 slide, but now you're trying to create like an ebook, and that's supposed to be 8:11. So what you can go here is to size, and then if you don't see the type of size you want, either 4:3 or 16:9, you can customize slides by clicking on that. It's going to load up this section right here, and now you can choose the width and height of this PowerPoint presentation. So let's say I want a width of 8.5 inches, and then I want a height of 11 inches. That automatically is going to put it in portrait mode. If I want landscape, it's then just going to flop these two dimensions. So let's keep it in portrait, and then you can also do the same thing for handouts and outline. Hit OK. And then it's going to ask you if you want to maximize it or ensure fit. I usually just say, it's really preference, honestly, because I have chose both of them at the same time. In this case, let's do ensure fit. And now it's just going to make sure everything's condensed in that slide and is not bleeding out of it. If you want everything to stay the same size, but then figure out a way on your end on how to make it fit, I would probably choose the maximize option. The reason why that option comes into play really well is if you don't want things distorted in a weird way, so that's why I would choose that option. But for this option, I just did ensure fit because I don't really have anything on my page, and it doesn't really matter in this case, but just know those are two options. Next is a format background. So if I click format background, it's then going to pull up this pane right here. Now to get this pane, I can also do right click and do format background as well. So that's just a quick shortcut on how to get to format background if you don't want to go all the way to design and then click on format background. All right, so if I want to add a gradient to my background, I can go here and add a gradient, or if I want to do a solid fill, or even a picture texture fill, or if you have a certain picture, you can get it from your files or even online pictures and insert it that way. Next, what we have here is hide background graphics. So what this means is if I go to view slide master and then I add in a bunch of different stuff in the background of my slide. Usually you go into slide master if you want to add things where you can't click on once you're out of it. So if I close this, now if I try clicking on this, it's not going to let me because this box is in the slide master. So what I can do is let's say I'm creating this slide and I don't want that box to show up on this slide, but maybe I want it to show up on other slides. Well, on this slide, I can say hide background graphics. It's going to hide everything that was originally in the slide master so it no longer shows up. So that's just a quick way to hide your background graphics if you don't want them to show up. And then let's say you want a certain type of background, you could do this, and then you can actually change the transparency of it right here. So just know there's a bunch of different options on how to create awesome looking backgrounds for your presentations right there. Another thing I want to show you guys is design ideas. So let's say I make this back to white and maybe we'll insert a picture. So I'm going to go here to pictures. We'll just insert an airplane. And now what happens is the second I insert a visual or a picture, this design ideas will pop up on the right. So what's cool about this is let's say you exit out of this and then you're like, oh, I really like those design ideas and how they popped up. Well, you can go back here, design ideas, and it's going to re-pop back up for you about different ideas and how you can use this image. So some of these are actually really well done. Like let's say you really like this design, you can then select it and it's going to change your slide to look like that design. Now in terms of editing this, it can get a little tricky because let's say I'm trying to click on this circle right here, it's not letting me. So a quick workaround to this is if you do Control A, it's then going to select all your objects on your screen. Let's say you really like how they did this plane image right there, so I'm going to select off of that, and I like this text, but I don't like these circles. I can just leave those still selected, hit delete, and now those are gonna go away. And this square right here, it's still showing up just because that was in our slide master before, so I can just hide that. And now I have a really nice start to my slide if I wanna start going off of this in this design. So just note that this is a really cool feature and you'd be surprised at what PowerPoint comes up with for you in terms of designs. And I've used this a couple of times in the past, but most of the time I will design my slides just purely from scratch. But if you are struggling with a good way on how to design it, try design ideas. It's a pretty cool feature. All right, so that is everything within the design tab in PowerPoint. If you guys did find this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate the support. Also, if you are interested in learning all things related to PowerPoint, I do have a course on Udemy, so I have a link to that in the description below. But without further ado, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys in future videos. Thanks.